When I was younger, Valentine's Day was my favorite day of the year. For over 3 years, I'd been dating my girlfriend Lena, and everything between us felt solid, comfortable, safe. That year, I had everything planned: flowers, her favorite chocolates, a quiet morning together. Before we went out, I thought nothing could ruin it. I was wrong. 2 days before Valentine's Day, Lena stopped answering my messages. At first, I brushed it off. She worked odd hours sometimes. But an entire day passed without a response, and the silence started to eat at me. Just as I was about to head to her place, she finally texted back. She said she'd overslept and missed work. When I offered to come over, she told me to wait, that we'd see each other on Valentine's Day instead. Something about her messages felt off. There were spelling mistakes, little things she never messed up. I told myself she was just tired. She mentioned her phone hadn't been working properly lately. I believed her because I wanted to. The next day didn't help. Her replies came at strange times, short and cold. By the time Valentine's morning arrived, I was more relieved than excited. I got dressed carefully, sprayed the cologne she once complimented, picked up flowers and chocolates. I drove to her house smiling like nothing was wrong. I was determined to make the day perfect. As I pulled up, I got a message from her. "I'm taking a shower. Front door's open." It felt reckless, something she'd never do, but I didn't question it. I stepped inside and heard water running. Behind the bathroom door, steam curled into the hallway. I sat down to wait. Then the bathroom door opened. But it wasn't Lena who stepped out. The man was tall, unnaturally thin. His skin was pale and stretched tight over his bones. He was wearing Lena's underwear, and his face, pieces of skin were glued onto it, poorly shaped, stitched together, hair attached in clumps. Her hair. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. "Where's Lena?" I whispered. He smiled. "I'm right here," he said softly. "Don't you recognize me?" I tried to run. He reached the door before I could and blocked it with his body. "Why are you scared?" he asked. "You're hurting my feelings." I screamed at him, called him a psycho. That was when his expression changed. He grabbed my head with both hands and screamed inches from my face that he was Lena, that I was being cruel, that I'd forgotten her. Then he laughed. He told me to stay put, said he'd change into something nicer, since I brought his favorite chocolates. The lights went out. That's when I smelled it. Rot, damp, sweet, and sickening. I stumbled toward the basement light, praying I was wrong. I wasn't. Lena's body was there. Decomposing, skin missing, her face gone. What he was wearing? I collapsed. I don't remember how long I cried. The door opened behind me. He came back wearing her skirt, her top, still half unzipped. He told me he killed the man who tried to replace her. Then he lifted me by the neck and threw me onto her body. I don't remember how I escaped. I only remember the rage replacing my fear. When the police arrived, there were 2 bodies. Every Valentine's Day since, I lock myself inside and relive it all. I don't celebrate love anymore. I survive it. There was nothing special about that night, except that it was Valentine's Day. I wanted to take my wife, Evelyn, out to dinner. It had been weeks since we'd spoken to each other like a real couple. Ever since our daughter Mara died, something inside Evelyn broke in a way I couldn't reach. Grief changed us both, but it consumed her. When the police called to tell us Mara had been hit by a truck while hitchhiking to a concert, Evelyn didn't cry. She didn't scream or collapse into my arms. She went quiet. Too quiet. "We cremated our daughter," Evelyn insisted. I agreed, thinking it would help her let go. I was wrong. She carried the urn everywhere. She spoke to it like Mara was still listening. Once I watched through the rearview mirror as she gently buckled it into the back seat, whispering, "There, comfortable." That was the moment I stopped going out with her. People stared, whispered, pointed. At first I felt sympathy, then exhaustion. I was tired of pretending our daughter was still alive. So that Valentine's Day, I decided to try one last time. I ordered food, lit candles, filled the dining room with red balloons and soft light. When Evelyn came downstairs and saw the table, her eyes finally lit up. For the first time in months, she noticed me. I stepped closer and spoke gently. Told her we needed to live again. That Mara would have wanted us to sit together, to eat. Evelyn looked at me like I'd said something strange. "Is it okay if Mara eats with us too?" she asked. I begged her not to do this, just for one night. She sat down anyway and placed the urn beside her plate. I swallowed my frustration. Progress takes time, I told myself. Then she started talking to it, praising me, laughing, asking it what it wanted to eat. That's when I snapped. I yelled that Mara was dead, that this wasn't healthy, that she was hurting us both. In my rage, I grabbed the tablecloth and pulled. Plates shattered, glass exploded across the floor. The urn hit the concrete and broke open. Ashes spilled everywhere. Evelyn screamed. She dropped to her knees among the shards, sobbing. Then she did something I will never forget. She licked the inside of the urn. She clawed at the floor, cutting her hands, shoving ash, blood, and porcelain into her mouth like she was starving. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. She turned to me, smiling through blood-stained teeth. "She'll be with me forever now," she whispered. I dragged her away, locked her in the bedroom, and waited for the paramedics. While she screamed in a child's voice from the other side of the door. That was 3 years ago. Evelyn lives in a mental institution now. Every Valentine's Day, I visit her with red roses. She never speaks to me. The doctors say she sometimes pretends she is Mara. I know I'll never get my family back. So if you love someone, hold them close, because sometimes love doesn't survive loss. Sometimes it becomes something else entirely. My name is Emily, and I'm 26 years old. I hate Valentine's Day. Not because I'm bitter or cynical about love, but because it reminds me of the night I almost didn't survive. This happened during my second year of college. I had just gone through a breakup, and I was feeling painfully alone. Everywhere I looked, people were talking about dates, flowers, and romance. I didn't want anything serious. I just didn't want to be alone. That's when one of my friends showed me a dating app. It wasn't a popular one, not something you'd recognize, just one of those off-brand apps nobody talks about. I downloaded it without thinking too much. A few days later, I matched with a guy named Nathan. He was charming, funny, attentive. We talked constantly, and nothing about him raised red flags. He liked hiking. I loved nature. He sent me a video of his cat. I laughed out loud. When we decided to meet on Valentine's Day, I felt hopeful for the first time in months. He said he'd pick me up from my dorm. When the knock came, my heart was racing. Nathan looked even better in person. Dark hair, sharp gray eyes, dressed in a black leather jacket. There was something intense about him, but I brushed it off. I was nervous. That's all. As he stepped inside, I noticed a tattoo on his neck, a string of numbers. I asked about it. He hesitated, just for a second, then said it didn't mean anything. We went for a walk in a nearby park. The night was quiet. Too quiet. No couples, no joggers, no voices, just us. When I pointed it out, Nathan didn't answer. He just tightened his arm around my waist and kept walking. That's when my stomach dropped. We stopped beneath a large tree, and suddenly his grip changed. His eyes weren't warm anymore. They were wide, hungry. I tried to step back. He grabbed my throat. I couldn't breathe. My vision blurred as he squeezed harder, watching my face like he was studying something fascinating. Then, just as I was about to black out, he let go. I collapsed to the ground, gasping. He laughed. Then he pulled off his jacket. Underneath, he was wearing an orange prison jumpsuit. The tattoo on his neck suddenly made sense. He scratched his own face with his fingernails, dragging them slowly downward. Until blood ran over his lips, he laughed the entire time. "I escaped," he said calmly, "just so I wouldn't be alone on Valentine's Day." Then he smiled at me. "Let's play a game." He gave me 3 minutes to run. If I made it out of the park, I lived. If I didn't... He didn't finish the sentence. I ran. I've never run that fast in my life. My lungs burned, my legs screamed. Behind me, I could hear his footsteps, slow at first, then faster, closer. When his counting stopped, he started sprinting. I thought I was going to die. Then headlights cut through the darkness. A park ranger's vehicle. I screamed until my throat tore. The moment the ranger stepped out, the footsteps vanished into the trees. The man was gone. They never found him, and I've never downloaded another dating app since. Every Valentine's Day, I lock my doors, turn off my phone, and wait for the night to pass. Terrified of being alone, and even more terrified of who might want to keep me company.